You're watching Wiswomen. I'm your host, Jodie Arnold. Today on the show we have Kate Beaton, Eau Claire City Council District Member at Large and Western Wisconsin organizer for the League of Conservation Voters. Thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you, Jodie.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, thanks. So, first things first, and that is you are currently the youngest member and a woman sitting on the Eau Claire City Council. And I'm wondering if you were aware of that when you were running, if that somehow kind of inspired it, and then what were the challenges of being a young person running for council?
Yeah, I initially decided to run. I had been asked many times. A fun fact: women often need to be asked up to 8 times to run for office, and before they say yes. And that was absolutely true of me. Whereas men don't need to be asked at all, so that's kind of a fun fact. But before I said yes, and thinking through whether or not I wanted to run for council, I took a look at the city council, and while I thought that they were doing pretty good work, I noticed that they were, on the older end, and I thought about how our city has so many college students and younger people, and that makes up a great percentage of our city. Yeah. And I kind of started to think about how that population wasn't being represented. And so after being asked many times, I made the leap. It was a big deal for me. And I definitely went in fearing those obstacles that you kind of always hear about. However, I was really pleased to find that the community really embraced a young woman running for city council. Yeah. I got a lot of support about, and a lot of people recognizing that we need a diversity of ages, a diversity in terms of people of color, and lots of different diversities. And so I was really pleased to see that support and have really enjoyed supporting continued diversity in that way as I've been elected. Now it has been, it hasn't come without struggle, and certainly, doing the work is different than running, right? And so working in this position and finding that you have to earn a little bit more respect than people who are a little bit older. You have to prove yourself a little bit more. Mm-hmm. That's been the biggest challenge, and showing people that I am somebody who is a leader, and I am somebody who can make competent decisions and that sort of thing, and so that's been the biggest challenge, I would say. But I was really impressed by the people of Eau Claire and embracing me in my run for council.
And that was your first run, and you won. Yeah,
it was very exciting.
That's really cool. And did you go to college here too?
I did. I came to Eau Claire for college, and as my friends were moving away after college, I kind of saw that culture and kept involving myself in different things in Eau Claire, and kind of eventually submitted to the fact, like, Eau Claire is just too cool, I have to stay. And that's been a big thing that I've paid attention to, that culture, that we're losing college students after they graduate. We're losing a really educated population of people and a young workforce. And so having lived that culture is something that's really motivated me to create a space where college students and young people want to live, work, and play here.
So, all right, you work with the League of Conservation Voters. Did that work come before the council work?
Yeah, so I was elected when I was an AmeriCorps member, actually.
You did that too?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, that's awesome.
I worked as an AmeriCorps Vista on local food and food insecurity issues, and that's when I was elected in 2016. And I would say my being elected actually helped me to kind of find my way to the Wisconsin League of Conservation Voters, and has really inspired, my council work has really inspired my work there.
And now, really quick, because I'm not even sure I know it sounds great, the League of Conservation Voters, but like for viewers who maybe aren't exactly sure, what is the League of Conservation Voters?
Yeah, so we are a statewide nonprofit, and we work to advocate for environmental policy, conservation policy at the state legislature. We work to empower citizens to advocate for that as well. So that's my job, is to empower the people in Western Wisconsin to get involved in the democratic process to promote a healthy environment. And then we also elect conservation legislators and candidates to help us do that work once they're elected in the legislature. So we're definitely changing gears now to work in elections and hopefully build a legislature on the state level that will promote a healthy environment.
And so when you guys identify candidates, do they go through some sort of process? Like, I know that I used to work in politics, and like questionnaires and things like that would come. Is that how you guys decide that and then pick, like, oh, this is a really important race that we really need to get behind somebody? But how do you guys decide who you're going to work most hard for like that?
Yeah, we have an endorsement process pretty similar to a lot of different organizations. There's a questionnaire, and then it goes to our board and our political director. So it's not a process that I'm involved with. My part will come once we do those endorsements, and I'll be mobilizing people to get behind those candidates. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right, that work then, when I'm thinking of the city council level, I know that there's been a lot of like environmental things that have come up over the past couple of years. So how has that work influenced what you're doing now at the council?
I would say it's even gone the other way. I was a high school student that was really concerned about climate change. I was the president of my Student Peace and Environmental Action Coalition. And I ran for city council on the platform that I wanted to be addressing environmental issues and poverty issues and equity issues. And so I have been doing this work for, I would say I've been doing environmental work longer than I've been doing any other work. And that has really built my skills in order to move into Wisconsin League of Conservation Voters, and I certainly have a different perspective. I've often worked on local issues, and now I'm working on more statewide issues. But I think that that the work is very similar in that way, and I've been able to pass on the city level a goal to reach 100% renewable energy by 2050. That's a new goal that our city has. And as a result of that, the Wisconsin League of Conservation Voters in other cities is pursuing similar goals. So I know that the city of Green Bay is kind of working on that now, my colleagues in the city of Green Bay. And so I would say it even kind of goes the other way, where my local work has really inspired the statewide work.
I remember hearing about that with the renewable energy. Now, what does that look like? What does Eau Claire have to do in order to reach a goal like that? I mean, it seems, I know there are cities who do this, right? Like that are existing right now. Like what kind of changes do we have to make in order for that to happen?
Yeah, so it's going to take a lot. We have 32 years to do it, and it's no short task. We are pursuing 100% renewable energy for the city municipality as an organization, as well as privately. So all energy in the city of Eau Claire, we want to see it be renewable by 2050. And so that's a really big order, right? And we're going to be going through a planning process in the next year to really think about how that's going to look, while also recognizing that the technology that we're going to see in 32 years doesn't even exist yet. Right. And so kind of doing our planning process in a way that will open the door for continued planning and continued evaluation of that planning, I think is going to be really important. But so far, with that goal being passed and set in last February, we've seen $1.7 million allocated in the next 5 years for our capital improvement budget. And so while $1.7 million is not going to solve all of our problems, that's more money than we've ever seen for clean energy work. Now that capital improvement project that budget has not yet been passed, and so it's proposed. So I'm hoping to see that go through in November. But that's kind of the first results that we've seen from these goals being passed.
And what is the capital improvement budget? That sounds like just something like one of those words that I would just like be reading and be like, yeah. What does this mean? Is that like for replacing like maybe solar, stuff like that?
Yeah, so the capital improvement budget goes towards any new like brick and mortar physical things.
Yeah.
A lot of our roads are reconstructed with our capital improvement project budget. There's a lot of any sort of new building that we build or repairs to a building. That's kind of what would fall underneath that. And under this budget, the capital improvement budget, we would be doing things like buying solar panels, new solar panels, and other kind of physical items that would help us reach those clean energy goals.
And is like Excel, are they partnered with you guys for that sort of thing, or is this like an independent thing from like the local power companies?
Yeah, so our goals that we set are independent. However, they were set specifically with the intention that we would be partnering with the local power plants. Given that we want to achieve 100% renewables for the private sector as well, we need to be working with everyone that we can, and probably one of the first and biggest being Excel to achieve that goal.
Yeah, I know they have that massive solar field that they run by all the time, which is really cool.
Super exciting.
Yeah. And real quick, what are you working on now that maybe isn't even like environmentally, you know, influenced? Is there anything going on at the council level that you are sort of spearheading right now, or like working with other members that is like really important to you right now?
Yeah, I'm working on a couple of projects related to neighborhood safety, just kind of those really, they're not very sexy projects, but really impact people's lives. I'm working on a couple of projects related to community engagement. I really would like to see the city engage with our citizens and our community members more meaningfully and in a more modern way. I think that's one way that we can build a stronger community and more cohesion that way. I'm also working on some kind of welcoming city, kind of equity projects, that sort of thing. So hopefully we'll see those come to fruition. And early voting certainly is one thing that I've been working a lot on as well. So.
And if you have to go to one place in Eau Claire to eat and you get to pick anywhere, where do you go?
So I always call it Singha because that's what it used to be called. I think it's called Thai Orchid now. I love the Thai food in Eau Claire, and that's my go-to place. I love that it's like nothing flashy, but the food is just like, it'll like rock your socks.
Yeah, that's always like the best places.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with me today. This has been Wiswomen. I'm your host, Jodie Arnold, and I'll see you next time.